The federal judge in Seattle just signed a temporary restraining order blocking Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship that he signed on day one in the Oval. The federal judge in Washington state calling it a blatantly unconstitutional order. Lawyers representing the 4 Democratic-led states leading the lawsuit saying they're thrilled about this block.
We are thrilled that the court saw the seriousness and the urgency of the complaints and requests for a temporary restraining order brought by the state of Washington, Oregon, Arizona, and Illinois, and are thrilled that the judge issued a temporary restraining order directing the United States government to take no further action in enforcing and implementing the unconstitutional and un-American executive order attempting to eliminate birthright citizenship in America.
Joining me now, White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks and our Matt Rivers, who's along the border there in San Diego. Well, the blocking has begun. Mary Alice, let's talk about the reasoning the judge gave for blocking Trump's order.
Yeah, it took him only 25 minutes as the judge was appointed by Ronald Reagan, and he basically laughed the Trump team out of the courtroom. He said, "I have difficulty understanding how a member of the bar can state unequivocally this is a constitutional order. It boggles my mind." Of course, the legal experts I talked to leading up to this hearing agreed. They thought this would be shut down, stopped immediately. Look, there's long-standing legal precedent around the 14th Amendment, and especially the way that Trump wrote this EO. Legal experts told me that the fact that they included people, mothers who are here legally but temporarily, and their children, even that makes it harder for Trump to in any way sort of argue the legality of this executive order. Even some of the more fringe legal theories, perhaps suggesting he maybe would have had a case in court, really shot down by the fact that Trump went so sweeping in this executive order. Look, it's still possible, of course, that this makes its way through the Court of Appeals, that it is taken up. Of course, this first case in Seattle in a very sort of liberal, more democratic-friendly Court of Appeals system. But we don't know if it'll go any further, because this judge saying he thinks that it is just blatantly unconstitutional. Like you said, he thinks the matter should be settled, Kira.
Well, Mary Alice, Trump and his team knew this executive order would likely issue legal battles. So why did he sign it anyway?
He promised to. I talked to one legal expert that said maybe this was just red meat to the base. Maybe it was just trying to make good on a campaign promise. It now kind of punts the issue. I mean, there's always the chance that Congress wants to try to amend the Constitution. There's always the chance that Trump will now try to issue a more targeted or more limited EO, chip away at the concept of birthright citizenship. Perhaps he could get away with something much, much more limited in scope. But you're right. I think that a lot of legal experts and probably the Trump team as well knew that something so sweeping was going to be struck down, but he was trying to make good on a campaign promise. And it's interesting, of course, in this bigger conversation about immigration. This is a part of, I think, Trump wanting to look so hardline, so maximalist on the border, Kira.